What the heck is that? Today, we're gonna be telling you exactly what the heck bearing spacers are. So we have 3 different types of bearing spacers here, and you might be thinking, all right, bearing spacer, I get it, it's a spacer for your bearing. But we get calls all the time saying, hey, my new bearing's already broke within a week. We ask them, hey, did you put in your bearing spacer? They say, what's that? I didn't know you needed that. Bearing spacer is very important. It goes in between your bearings, in your wheels, and make sure when you tighten your axle, it doesn't cave in the center of your bearings. If there's a spacer right there, check it out. Can't go any further, can't do it. That's what they're for. So to demonstrate, I have a razor wheel. I grab the razor wheel because it's super easy to get bearings in and out. If you have a metal core, new metal core, you're gonna need a press or something to really press them in. You can see here, razor wheel, super easy to press in bearings. So if I were to just go, okay, new bearings, here we go, gonna put this in there. Wrong, stop right now. Don't do that. Gotta grab one of these bad boys right here. Put in there. And if you're gonna be hammering on your wheel, always make sure before you start that the bearing spacer stays level. If when you're hammering, it jumps around and then ends up being sideways, I know I have had to ruin a pair of bearings because once I pressed it in all the way and looked in there, the bearing spacer was sideways. Luckily, this is a razor wheel, so super easy to get it out. Boom. That's not gonna be easy for you if you got some Protos or anything good quality metal core, that won't come out. So we have 3 different styles of bearing spacers available on our website. We have the district bearing spacer. Now the great thing about the district bearing spacer is you can see that ridge right there. What that ridge right there does is make sure it almost always stays lined up. It doesn't have that much wiggle room inside the wheel. You can see how much, compare that to the tilt bearing spacer. See how much that'll move? So if you've ever been putting on a wheel and it's hard to get the axle through because it's running into the bearing spacer, the district bearing spacer might be exactly what you want because it keeps it pretty much in the center with a little bit of wiggle room. However, the fallback to that is when you want to hit out your bearing. I often use the bearing spacer to hit it out, but you can see there's not much bearing spacer showing in there, just a little bit. So you have to be really precise if you're going to hit that bearing out with a bearing spacer. Now let's see, let's try that. Luckily, razor wheel, not a Proto wheel, super easy. The other 2, very similar design. We have a Proto bearing spacer, just super plain bearing spacer, and the tilt bearing spacer. Both really plain, any bearing spacer can be pretty plain. The tilt one's just slightly thicker, but there's not really much impact happening on your bearing spacer, so you'd be fine going with either one. You can even use these things if you need to extend the length of an axle a little bit, you don't have enough room. So if you're ordering from us, pick up a couple of these because they always come in handy. You don't know if you're gonna ever need it for a peg, anything like that. Any just general spacing, not just your wheel spacer. So remember, if you're getting some new wheels, make sure before you put that guy in, wrong, no. Put one of these guys in there. Make sure it's lined up. Press that down, not gonna be that easy, guys. And there you go, you have a bearing spacer in there. This will prevent your bearings from breaking and help keep your scooter very dialed. Thanks for watching. What the heck is that with bearing spacers? There we go, check them out. Comment below on anything else you want us to tell you what the heck it is. Make sure to like and subscribe. Vault Pro Scooters is telling you exactly what you need to know.